Hi Energy Campers, I've got a fun activity for you today. What we're going to do is we're going to take this lemon, we're actually going to create enough electricity out of this lemon to power this small clock today. This that I have with me today came from a small kit. You can actually do this with a few things you might have around the house instead of some of these things, or you can find various different kits where you can get some of these supplies. And we'll leave some information on the website if you'd like to follow along with us. So I want to start with my lemon. Now, inside of my lemon, I've actually got an electrolyte solution that is going to create a small chemical reaction that's going to turn into electricity that is going to power my small clock. Now, to kind of loosen up that electrolyte solution, I am going to give my lemon a good roll so I can loosen that up. I'm going to set that aside for a second and take a look at some of my other supplies. So in addition to my clock, I have an additional wire. I've got 4 clamps. I have 2 copper pieces of metal, and I have 2 that are made out of zinc. Now it's important that I use these specific metals because when I'm creating my current, I need one metal that is going to do more attracting of electrons, and that's going to help create a flow of electricity because one of these metals does a better job of attracting electrons. That's going to help create an electric current. It's going to get those electrons to travel through, which you'll remember is what we need for electricity. So that's what we're working with. I've rolled out my lemon to get those juices flowing a little bit more freely. I'm going to cut this lemon in half. Please be very careful. Okay, so I've got my lemon in 2 pieces here. Now, when I'm creating this, I'm going to need one of my copper and one of my zinc pieces of metal in each. And you can put them about 1 inch apart in each of your lemons. There we go. Okay, now we're going to need to connect our wires and our clock to this to create that flow of electricity, that current. So with my clock here, I'm going to start by attaching one of my clamps to my wire here. So I'm going to attach my red clamp to my red wire. Now, different kits might be set up a little bit differently. I'm going to take this, and because it's got a little coating on there, I can slide this in there and it will hold it snugly against that clamp. So I get a good connection. And I'm going to clamp that on. This would also work if I had just taken the end of this and wrapped it around that piece of copper. That would work also. All right. Oops, fell off. Make sure I get that good and on there, because if I don't have good connection on there, it is not going to create that current. So let me make sure I do a good job of connecting on there. Okay. All right, and then back onto our piece of copper. All right. Now, so we're going to create a flow of electricity. So as the electricity flows through the lemon, we're going to need to connect our piece of zinc here, and I'm going to connect it with a wire to the piece of copper on the other side. So I'm going to alternate. So you see how we've got copper, zinc. Now we're going to go back to copper again. So I'm going to connect another one of my clips here. This is going to attach to my zinc. Oops. Make sure I get a good connection here. There we go. I'll clamp that on. I'll get one of my red clamps to go onto my copper on the other side. Attach that there. All right, and then lastly, to complete the circuit, we're going to connect this here, our last piece of zinc, connect with our clamp. Sometimes what you might notice is the end of the wires might kind of pull apart a little bit. They call that fraying. That's no big deal if that happens. Sometimes you just got to pull them back together, pinch them back together. That happens from time to time. But like I said, I could also wrap this around the edge as long as I've got the metals making contact from the wire to the clamp here. So I make my connection to my clamp. Oops, goodness, it frayed on me again. And that's okay, that's not a problem. Just twist that back up so that I'm able to connect it. There we go. feed it in to make a good connection there. All right. And as you can see here, we are reading a time on our clock because we have been able to create a flow of electrons through these lemons. So we used the copper and the zinc to help us create a flow of electrons, because again, one of them does a better job of attracting electrons, so it flows from one to the other. It goes through the wire, electrons flow, and back on through to power our clock. Now, if you wanted to create a stronger current, we could add additional lemons and create a larger circuit to this if we're trying to power something just a little bit bigger. So, cool little activity for us today to show how we can use the electrolyte solution in a lemon to power a small clock.